The Galactic Council chamber was alive with chatter, a grand hall of towering alien leaders from across the galaxy. They floated or stood on platforms, their shapes and sizes as varied as the stars themselves. In the center of their conversation, the topic of humans and their fleet arose, and a ripple of laughter spread through the assembly. They mocked the small human fleet, calling it insignificant, a weak force that would never leave Earth's orbit. They did not know the humans well, and they had no reason to respect them yet. Admiral Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the flagship, the Saju, overlooking the human fleet gathered in orbit. Every ship was small compared to the alien warships they were about to face. He had seen the Council's reports and heard the mockery, but he did not care. What mattered was that the humans were smart, resourceful, and united. The fleet had been working for months, preparing for the moment they might face true battle. Captain Heian, his trusted officer, walked past, checking each console with quiet precision. "Are the drones ready?" Jinwoo asked. Heian nodded. "They are charged and deployed in the satellites. No alien fleet will detect them until we want them to." The humans had designed their ships to be fast and unpredictable. They had built their fleet not with size in mind, but with clever tactics. Small, agile vessels carried energy weapons that could disable the largest alien ships if aimed correctly. Every pilot knew their plan and every engineer understood their role. The Council thought humans were weak because they judged by appearance, but humans knew that appearances were deceiving. Below the surface of the Council's confidence, there were hints of worry among a few aliens. Not all of them were cruel or arrogant. Some had seen reports of human tactics in minor conflicts near their own planets. Still, they dismissed these as luck, not skill. The Council wanted to maintain its pride and its belief that humans were too small to matter. In the command room of the Saju, Jinwoo gathered his officers. "The Council laughs at us now, but that will change. We strike in 2 days. Every ship and every crew member must be ready. Remember, we are small, but we are humans. That is enough to outthink them." The crew of the Saju responded with quiet determination. Among them were engineers like Mincio, who had worked tirelessly on the ship's engines, and soldiers like Jisoo, who trained relentlessly for hand-to-hand combat in zero gravity. Even the youngest pilots, like Sungmin, practiced maneuvers day and night. The human fleet had a sense of purpose that no alien race could understand because they believed power only came from numbers and size. When the fleet moved into position near the edge of the galaxy's contested sector, the vastness of space seemed endless. Stars stretched in all directions, but Jinwoo's focus was on the sensors and signals from the alien fleet. They were out there, waiting, confident that humans would not dare challenge them. Heian approached the navigation console. "All ships are in formation. Drones are active. Enemy ships are starting to scan the area." Jinwoo nodded. He knew that the first test would come quickly. The humans had practiced for years to make every move count. If they failed, the fleet would be destroyed. If they succeeded, they would prove something that no one in the Council had expected: that humans were more than what they appeared. The first signals from the alien fleet appeared on the screens. Massive ships, glowing with energy shields, were heading toward them. The Council's confidence was visible even in the patterns of their ships. They spread out, assuming the humans would scatter in fear. Jinwoo gave a quiet order: "Initiate stealth protocols and prepare for the first strike. Follow the patterns we drilled. Wait for my command." Minutes passed slowly, the calm before the storm. Every crew member felt the tension, knowing that what they did now would either define humanity's future in the galaxy or end it. The human fleet seemed small and fragile compared to the alien armada, but there was a fire in the hearts of these men and women that no ship could measure. Sungmin, the youngest pilot, glanced at the fleet around him. "We really can do this, right?" Jisoo smiled. "We have no choice but to believe, and we have the advantage of surprise. That is all we need." Then Jinwoo's voice came over the comms. "Now!" The human ships moved as one, a silent wave of calculated precision. Drones launched from hidden satellites, disabling enemy sensors and communication nodes. Alien ships sent warnings, but they could not detect the source. Explosions of light and energy flashed across the distance as human attacks hit critical points. The council in the central chamber watched in disbelief. Reports came in that their supposedly weak targets were damaging multiple warships at once. They had laughed at humans, yet the reality was different. Each small human ship seemed to move with intelligence, striking, retreating, and striking again in patterns that confused the largest alien warships. Heian guided the Saju through a narrow asteroid belt, evading enemy fire and finding positions to hit multiple enemy vessels at once. Jinwoo monitored the sensors, giving precise orders to ensure that every strike counted. The humans were showing skill and bravery beyond what the Council had imagined. By the end of the first engagement, the alien fleet had suffered significant damage. They regrouped, shocked and unsure of what to do next. The humans, though small in number, had proven that size did not determine strength. Earth's fleet had begun to dominate, showing that cleverness, preparation, and courage could overcome any disadvantage. As the human fleet regrouped, Jinwoo addressed the crew. Today, we have shown them that humans are not to be underestimated. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember our fleet, not for its size, but for its spirit and its skill. Prepare for the next phase. We will show them the full strength of Earth's ingenuity. Even as the alien fleet retreated slightly, the humans did not celebrate loudly. They understood that the battle was far from over. Yet, for the first time, there was a spark of recognition in the galaxy. Humans were no longer a species to be dismissed. Every crew member felt pride and determination. The small human fleet had taken its first steps toward changing the galaxy forever, proving that bravery, intelligence, and unity could dominate even the largest threats. Mincio adjusted the engines and checked the drone controls. Jisoo sharpened her weapons and ran simulations of possible encounters. Sungmin prepared his fighter, eyes fixed on the stars, ready for the challenges ahead. Each member of the fleet knew that their actions today would become stories of legend tomorrow. In orbit above Earth, the planet seemed calm, unaware of the battle, being waged far above and beyond. But from the eyes of humans in space, every star was a battlefield, and every alien ship was a challenge to their survival and honor. The mockery of the Galactic Council had set the stage for something extraordinary. Humans were small in number, but their spirit was immeasurable. They had begun to dominate not because of power, but because of courage, planning, and an unbreakable will. And so, the tiny human fleet, once laughed at, had taken its first true victory. It belonged to Earth, and it would carry the hope of humanity across the galaxy, challenging anyone who doubted their strength. The galaxy had begun to notice that humans were not as small or weak as anyone thought. The story of Earth's fleet had only just begun, and the stars themselves would witness the rise of a species that refused to be underestimated. The human fleet moved silently through the blackness of space, every ship alert and ready. Admiral Jinwoo watched the stars from the bridge of the Saju, noting the movements of the alien fleet. Though they had survived the first encounter, Jinwoo knew the alien forces would return stronger. They underestimated the humans, and that mistake would cost them dearly. Captain Heian stood beside him, scanning the consoles. Enemy fleet is regrouping near the nebula sector, she said. They do not expect us to strike first. Jinwoo nodded. He knew this was their chance. The humans were small, but their strategy relied on intelligence and precision rather than sheer numbers. Every crew member knew their role. Engineers like Mincio were ready to push the ships beyond normal limits, while soldiers like Jisoo prepared weapons and defenses. Pilots such as Sungmin practiced maneuvers in the training pods, knowing that every move could save or end a life. Prepare the drones for deployment, Jinwoo ordered. We hit them in waves, not as a single line. Confuse them, divide them, and strike their command ships. The human ships moved into position near the dense asteroids of the nebula sector. The stars glittered through the gaps, and space seemed alive with possibilities. Drones launched quietly from hidden positions, spreading out to disrupt alien sensors. The aliens were unaware that their prey was already setting traps for them. As the alien fleet entered the sector, their scanners began to pick up faint anomalies. Captain Heian, they are noticing something, Jinwoo said calmly. But it is too late for them to respond effectively. The humans struck suddenly. Energy beams from their small ships disabled shields on 2 alien vessels within seconds. The alien fleet responded with blasts of their own, but their numbers worked against them. The humans moved unpredictably, slipping between attacks and returning fire in patterns the aliens could not anticipate. In the Saju's command room, Jinwoo observed the battle with a steady gaze. Sungmin, take your fighter and flank the enemy on their left. Target the command node of that cruiser. Sungmin's eyes widened, but he followed orders without hesitation. The young pilot darted between laser beams, using the asteroids for cover. With a well-placed strike, the command node of the alien cruiser malfunctioned, sending their formation into chaos. Jisoo coordinated the boarding teams ready to engage if the aliens attempted close combat. Even in zero gravity, humans were agile and precise. The aliens expected fear, but instead found calm focus and deadly skill. The smaller human ships moved like a swarm, hitting critical systems and retreating before retaliation could land. Mincio adjusted the Saju's engine output, pushing it to maximum velocity. Energy levels stable, she reported. Weapons are online and ready for the next strike. Jinwoo nodded. The human fleet's advantage was not just in numbers or power, but in their ability to think ahead. Every alien ship that underestimated the humans fell prey to their traps. Every attack exploited a weakness they had ignored. Hours passed in a tense dance of attack and evasion. The aliens tried to regroup, but the humans anticipated every move. Captain Heian guided the Saju through a narrow corridor between 2 giant asteroids, giving their fleet a hidden advantage. The aliens could not follow closely without risking collisions, while humans used the terrain to their benefit. Jinwoo, the enemy flagship is retreating, Heian reported. They know they underestimated us, but they are not defeated yet. Jinwoo clenched his fist. Good. They will think retreat is safety. But we will follow. The battle is not over until their fleet is broken. Prepare the next wave. As the human ships surged forward, they released a second group of drones. These were programmed to jam alien communications and sensors further, making coordination nearly impossible for the enemy. Alien ships fired blindly, while human fighters darted through the chaos, picking off targets with precision. The alien council watching remotely could hardly believe the reports. Their warships, meant to intimidate and crush a small fleet, were suffering under attacks from ships they considered toys. Hints of fear and uncertainty began to replace arrogance. They had mocked humanity, yet the humans showed creativity, courage, and unyielding determination. In the Saju, Jinwoo addressed his officers. Remember, every human has a role. Every ship is vital. We may be small, but our minds and our courage are our strength. Attack when ready, retreat when necessary, and strike with precision. Mincio and Jisoo exchanged determined glances. Every crew member knew that these words were more than instructions. They were a promise to themselves and Earth. Even young pilots like Sungmin felt the weight of responsibility but also a growing confidence. The human fleet was proving itself and they would not stop. The battle intensified as humans infiltrated deeper into the alien formation. Heian directed the Saju to fire energy pulses at weak points, and smaller ships followed, hitting shields and engines with pinpoint accuracy. Alien warships were damaged faster than they could repair. Chaos spread through their ranks as communication systems failed, and their fleet began to fragment. At one point, a massive alien cruiser tried to break through to the human flagship. Jisoo quickly organized a defense, sending a squad of fighters to intercept. Using maneuvers practiced countless times, the humans forced the cruiser off course, and its weapons collided with an asteroid, causing a massive explosion. The sight of the alien cruiser's destruction brought a brief cheer among the human crew, but they remained focused. Jinwoo reminded them that the fight was far from over. The remaining alien forces still posed a threat, but the advantage had shifted. Humans were no longer a fleet to be mocked. They were a force to be respected. Mincio monitored energy levels and shields, adjusting outputs to maintain maximum efficiency. Heian calculated trajectories for intercepting the scattered alien ships. Every decision was crucial, and every member of the fleet played their part. As the sun of a nearby system glimmered in the distance, the human fleet continued their assault. Alien ships were retreating, confused and battered, yet some attempted desperate attacks. Humans countered with precision strikes, disabling key systems and forcing others to surrender. By the end of the engagement, the human fleet had demonstrated their capability and resilience. Even the smallest ships had made significant contributions. They had proven that size and strength were not everything. Strategy, unity, and courage could overcome even the most formidable opponent. Jinwoo gathered his officers on the bridge. Today, we have shown them the strength of Earth's fleet. The galaxy will remember that humans are clever and courageous. Prepare for the next phase. We will continue to challenge the Council and their fleet until they acknowledge our place among the stars. Heian, Mincio, Jisoo, and Sungmin nodded, ready for what lay ahead. The humans had survived the first true test in the galaxy and had won against overwhelming odds. Their small fleet, once mocked, had begun to dominate through ingenuity and bravery. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter as Earth's fleet moved forward, proving that no matter how small, humanity could change the course of the galaxy. The human fleet continued to move deeper into the galaxy, following the retreating alien forces. Admiral Jinwoo and Captain Heian knew that the aliens were not defeated. They were regrouping for a larger counterattack. The humans were small in number, but their strategy relied on intelligence, patience, and precision. Every ship, every crew member, had a role to play in the battle that would decide the future of Earth's fleet. Sensors are picking up movement ahead, Heian said, her eyes scanning the glowing console. They are organizing, trying to form a new line of defense. Jinwoo nodded. Good. Let them think they can control the fight. We will teach them otherwise. Prepare all ships for coordinated strike patterns. We will split their forces and weaken them piece by piece. Mincio worked at the engine controls, monitoring energy output and shield integrity. Her hands moved quickly over the panels, ensuring that the fleet could move faster and respond more efficiently. Jisoo checked weapons and boarding teams, ready for any close encounters. Sungmin trained in the simulator, running the same maneuvers they had practiced countless times. Every human knew that even a small mistake could be disastrous. As the alien fleet came into view, the humans noticed the size of the attack. Ships of all shapes and sizes were advancing in formation, their energy shields glowing. The aliens believed that their numbers would overwhelm the humans, but Jinwoo had already calculated their weaknesses. Heian, deploy drones to the flanks, he ordered. We will divide their attention and strike at key ships. The smallest human fleet can confuse even the largest alien armada. The drones moved silently, invisible to the alien sensors. They disrupted communications and disabled minor weapon systems on the first line of alien ships. The humans waited, observing as the alien formation started to wobble and lose coordination. Sungmin led a group of fighters around the edge of the fleet, taking advantage of gaps in their defenses. Target the energy nodes of the cruisers, Jinwoo instructed. We take out their power, and their strength disappears. Energy beams and explosions filled space as humans struck with precision. Alien ships fired back, but they were forced to focus on their own damaged vessels, unable to coordinate properly. The human fleet moved like a single organism, each ship anticipating the actions of the others. Mincio pushed the Saju's engines beyond normal limits, giving the flagship incredible speed for short bursts. Shields holding at 75%, she reported. Weapons ready for next wave. Jisoo and the boarding teams prepared to capture enemy ships that were immobilized. The aliens had no expectation that humans would approach so closely, and they were unprepared for combat at that level. The small humans moved with courage and determination, surprising every opponent they faced. Jinwoo watched the battle unfold, giving precise orders. Sungmin, fall back after the next strike and regroup. Heian, maintain formation and focus fire on the command ships. Mincio, monitor shields. Jisoo, be ready for boarding if necessary. The alien fleet began to crumble under the continuous attacks. They tried to regroup, but their formation was broken. Confusion spread through their ranks, and their officers argued over the best course of action. Humans, once considered insignificant, were proving to be formidable opponents. Even as the alien ships fired back, humans used the terrain to their advantage. Asteroid fields provided cover, and narrow passages allowed smaller human ships to outmaneuver larger vessels. Every movement was calculated, every attack planned. The aliens could not predict human strategy, and that gave the humans an edge. "They are trying to escape," Heian reported. "But we can intercept them." Jinwoo smiled. "Then we do not let them flee. We strike again, carefully and without error. Prepare for the final wave of this engagement." The human fleet coordinated a complex series of attacks. Fighters flew around the edges of the alien formation, striking at weak points. Drones jammed their sensors and disrupted energy flow. Larger ships fired precisely at command nodes, crippling alien coordination. The aliens were caught in a web of strategy they could not escape. Mincio worked tirelessly to keep the flagship at peak performance. She adjusted energy outputs, repaired minor damage, and maintained communication with the rest of the fleet. Jisoo led boarding squads in zero gravity, silently disabling critical systems on immobilized alien ships. Sungmin maneuvered skillfully, targeting enemy vessels with laser precision. The alien council, observing from their distant command center, could hardly believe what they were seeing. Their overwhelming fleet was being dismantled by a smaller, supposedly weaker force. Panic and disbelief spread through the alien ranks. Humans had proven that intelligence, courage, and coordination could surpass sheer numbers and size. As the battle reached its climax, the human fleet targeted the last major command ship. Jinwoo gave the order, and every human ship fired at once, energy beams converging on critical systems. The alien flagship shuddered and erupted in a controlled explosion, sending shockwaves through the remaining vessels. The aliens began to retreat in disorder, abandoning their plan to crush the human fleet. The humans, though exhausted and damaged, had gained a decisive advantage. They had shown that small numbers did not mean weakness, and that strategy, unity, and bravery could overcome even the most powerful foes. Jinwoo addressed the officers on the bridge of the Saju. "We have won this engagement, but the war is not over. The Council will send more forces, and we must remain vigilant. Remember, the strength of humanity lies not in our size, but in our courage, intelligence, and unity." The crew nodded, pride and determination shining in their eyes. Mincio monitored the engines and shields, ensuring the fleet was ready for the next encounter. Jisoo prepared weapons and boarding teams for future missions. Sungmin polished his fighter, ready to take to the stars once more. Every human in the fleet understood the importance of their mission. The stars stretched endlessly around them, but the human fleet moved with purpose. They were no longer a fleet to be mocked. Their small size hid great skill, courage, and determination. Earth's fleet had begun to dominate in ways that no one in the galaxy had anticipated. As the human ships regrouped and repaired, Jinwoo and Heian discussed the next phase. "The Council will not accept defeat quietly," Jinwoo said. "We must be ready for the next challenge, stronger and smarter." Heian nodded. "We will be ready. We have shown that humans are not to be underestimated. We will continue to fight and prove ourselves." The human fleet continued its journey through the galaxy, each ship a symbol of Earth's strength. Small, yes, but filled with courage, skill, and unity. They had survived the first major battle, and the story of their victories would soon spread across the stars. Humans were no longer the underdogs. They were a force that the galaxy would remember. And so, the tiny human fleet, once mocked and dismissed, continued to rise. The courage and intelligence of its crew ensured that Earth's fleet would dominate in ways that no alien had imagined. Humanity had begun to change the balance of power in the galaxy, and the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter as the humans pressed forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The human fleet moved cautiously through the vast reaches of space, preparing for the alien counterattack. Admiral Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the Saju, observing the stars and monitoring the alien fleet signals. The Council would not take their defeat lightly. They would send more ships, stronger and smarter, to crush Earth's fleet. Yet Jinwu remained calm. Humans were not only clever, they were resourceful, and that resourcefulness would turn the tide of war. Captain Heian approached, scanning the consoles. "Enemy fleet is advancing, larger than before," she said. "They must have rebuilt their forces quickly." Jinwu nodded. "They will expect us to be defensive. Instead, we will strike where they least expect it. Prepare the ships for coordinated assault. We will divide their fleet and exploit their weaknesses." Mincio monitored the Saju's energy systems, making sure the engines could handle sudden bursts of speed. Jisu checked the weapons and boarding teams, ensuring readiness for any close encounters. Sungmin trained in the simulator one last time, running maneuvers that might be needed in the coming battle. Each human knew that precision, not size, was their advantage. As the alien fleet approached, their massive ships filled the sensors. The Council had sent a combination of cruisers, destroyers, and assault vessels. They were confident that humans would falter, but Jinwu had prepared every possible scenario. "Heian, deploy drones to their flanks and rear," he commanded. "We will disrupt their sensors and force them into confusion. Every strike must hit precisely where it counts." The drones moved silently, invisible to the aliens' detection systems. They jammed communications and disabled minor weapon nodes, leaving the alien fleet in partial darkness. Humans, small in number, had the element of surprise and intelligence. The first attacks began. Human ships moved swiftly between enemy fire, striking at vulnerable points. Energy beams disabled shields and weapons on the front line of alien cruisers. The aliens fired blindly, unable to coordinate properly, and the human fleet pressed the advantage. Sungmin led a squad of fighters around the alien formation, targeting command nodes on the cruisers. Each strike caused confusion and disruption in the enemy ranks. Jisu led boarding teams to immobilized ships, disabling critical systems and gathering intelligence. The aliens were unprepared for humans to operate both in space combat and boarding actions at the same time. Mincio pushed the Saju's engines to the limit, allowing it to maneuver with agility that larger ships could not match. "Weapons online," she reported. "Energy levels stable." Jinwu gave precise orders. "Sungmin, maintain pressure on the left flank. Heian, focus fire on command ships. Jisu, be ready to board if opportunity arises. Every move counts." The alien fleet struggled to maintain formation. Their ships collided or fired at the wrong targets. Humans moved as one unit, each ship anticipating the other's actions. The chaos among the aliens grew, while human coordination remained flawless. Alien Council members observing the battle could not believe the reports. Their superior fleet was faltering under attacks from a smaller, underestimated force. Panic spread through the alien officers, who had never faced opponents like humans. Each strike by the human fleet demonstrated courage, intelligence, and strategy beyond what the Council had imagined. The human fleet pressed forward. Asteroids provided cover, and narrow gaps allowed smaller ships to outmaneuver the massive cruisers. Every human pilot executed maneuvers perfectly, exploiting every opportunity to strike. Even the smallest human vessels made critical contributions, showing that size did not define strength. "They are trying to retreat," Heian reported. "But we can intercept them." Jinwu nodded. "Then we do not let them flee. We finish this phase of the battle. Prepare for the final assault." The human fleet coordinated their attacks with precision. Fighters struck from the sides, drones disrupted sensors and communications, and larger ships fired energy beams at critical nodes. Alien warships faltered, unable to recover from the organized human assault. Mincio adjusted energy output to keep shields strong while maintaining maximum speed. Jisu's boarding squads moved silently, disabling key systems on immobilized ships. Sungmin attacked isolated vessels, weakening the enemy from all sides. Humans worked together seamlessly, their small numbers multiplied by strategy and skill. The climax of the engagement came when the human fleet focused on the alien command ship. Every ship fired at once, beams of energy converging on the central systems. The alien flagship erupted in a controlled explosion, shaking the surrounding vessels. Chaos spread, and the remaining ships began to retreat, no longer able to mount an effective attack. Jin Woo turned to his officers. "We have won this battle, but the war continues. The Council will send stronger forces, and we must be ready. Remember, our strength is not in numbers, but in unity, courage, and intelligence." The crew nodded, pride and determination visible in their eyes. Mincio checked energy levels and shields, preparing the fleet for the next engagement. Jisoo organized the boarding teams and repaired minor damages. Sungmin polished his fighter and reviewed maneuvers, ready to act again. Every member of the fleet understood the importance of their role. As the human ships moved through the stars, they had proven that even a small fleet could dominate a superior force. Earth's fleet, once mocked, had now become a force the galaxy would remember. Their courage, skill, and unity had shifted the balance, showing that humans were not weak, but formidable opponents. Jin Woo and Heian discussed the next strategy. "The Council will not accept defeat quietly," Jin Woo said. "We must be prepared for their next move, smarter and stronger." Heian nodded. "We will be ready. Humans are not to be underestimated. We will continue to fight and show the galaxy our strength." The human fleet continued its journey, each ship a symbol of Earth's determination. They were small but filled with courage and skill. The tiny fleet, once dismissed, now dominated through intelligence and bravery. The galaxy would soon learn that humans were a species that could not be ignored, and Earth's fleet would continue to rise among the stars, ready for any challenge that awaited them. The human fleet moved through the galaxy with purpose, knowing that the final confrontation with the Alien Council's forces was coming. Admiral Jin Woo stood on the bridge of the Saju, his eyes fixed on the incoming signals. The alien fleet was gathering strength, preparing a final assault. Yet Jin Woo and Captain Heian had already planned every move, every strike, and every defense. The humans were small in number, but they were united, courageous, and clever. "Sensors show the Council's main fleet approaching," Heian reported. "They are larger than before and heavily armed." Jin Woo nodded. "They will not expect us to use what we learned from the previous battles. Prepare the fleet for coordinated attack. This is the moment to show our true strength." Mincio checked energy levels on the Saju, making sure that engines, shields, and weapons were at peak efficiency. Jisoo supervised the weapons teams and boarding squads, ready for combat in any situation. Sungmin and other young pilots ran final simulations, preparing to execute daring maneuvers. The alien fleet entered the sector, massive and confident. Their warships were arranged in tight formations, energy shields glowing and weapons ready. They believed that their overwhelming numbers would crush the humans once and for all. They had underestimated the humans before, and they would regret it. "Deploy drones," Jin Woo ordered. "Use them to jam communications and create false targets. We divide and confuse them, then strike where it hurts most." The drones moved silently, interfering with the alien fleet's sensors. Alien ships fired blindly, while human ships maneuvered with precision. Small energy pulses from human vessels disabled key systems on larger cruisers. The aliens struggled to respond, their formation breaking apart under the clever tactics of Earth's fleet. Sungmin led a group of fighters around the flanks, taking out energy nodes and engines on critical ships. Jisoo guided boarding squads to immobilized vessels, capturing important alien technology and disabling weapons. Every member of the human fleet acted with courage and skill, turning the tide of battle despite being outnumbered. Mincio pushed the Saju's engines beyond normal limits, allowing the flagship to evade attacks and deliver precise strikes. "Shields at 80%, weapons ready," she reported. Jin Woo coordinated the fleet. Sungmin, continue flanking the right side. Heian, focus fire on command vessels. Jisoo, be ready for boarding and sabotage operations. Everyone, stay alert and follow the plan. The alien fleet grew chaotic. Their officers struggled to communicate, their ships colliding and firing at incorrect targets. Humans moved as one, predicting each action and responding with perfect timing. The council could not believe the reports. Their strongest fleet was crumbling under attacks from a smaller, underestimated force. The human fleet pressed forward, using every advantage. Asteroids and nebulae provided cover and opportunities to outmaneuver larger ships. Small vessels darted between beams of energy, striking precisely and retreating quickly. Each human pilot, engineer, and soldier contributed to the battle, demonstrating unity and determination. "They are trying to retreat," Heian said, "but we can intercept them." Jinwoo smiled. "Then we do not allow it. Prepare for the decisive strike. This ends today." The humans coordinated a final attack on the alien command ship. Every ship, every fighter, every beam of energy focused on its critical systems. The alien flagship shuddered and erupted in a controlled explosion, sending shockwaves through the remaining vessels. The council's fleet faltered and began to retreat in disorder. Humans, though small in number, had demonstrated their dominance through courage, intelligence, and unity. Jinwoo addressed his officers. "The council will not easily forgive defeat. We must remain vigilant. But today we have shown the galaxy that humans are formidable. Our fleet, though small, can dominate any foe with strategy and courage." The crew nodded with pride. Mincio ensured the Saju systems were fully operational. Jisoo prepared weapons and boarding squads for any last attacks. Sungmin and the other pilots practiced maneuvers, ready for future engagement. Every human in the fleet understood the significance of their actions. They had proven that size did not define strength, but intelligence, unity, and bravery did. As they moved through space, the human fleet had become a symbol of courage and determination. Their small numbers had achieved what the galaxy thought impossible. Earth's fleet had dominated, showing that even underestimated humans could change the balance of power. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as the humans pressed forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Jinwoo and Heian discussed the next steps. "The council will send reinforcements," Jinwoo said, "but they will now think twice before underestimating us." Heian nodded. "Humans have proven their strength. We will continue to fight and protect Earth's place in the galaxy." The human fleet sailed onward, small but mighty, carrying with them the spirit of humanity. Their courage, intelligence, and unity had dominated the alien forces, changing the galaxy's view of Earth forever. The story of the tiny human fleet, once mocked, would now inspire generations. Humanity had risen to the challenge, proving that even the smallest forces could triumph with determination and skill. And so, the humans moved through the stars, victorious yet vigilant, ready for the future. Their fleet, once doubted, had become a beacon of hope and strength. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate humanity, for their courage and intelligence could dominate even the greatest forces. Earth's fleet, small in size but immense in spirit, had truly changed the balance of power across the galaxy.